Hey, my name's Melissa. I've had a crazy story and I'm sharing it in long form content. Most of you seeing this are probably pretty new, and hopefully, a lot of people see it because I got a crazy story. And but I have to do this while I do other things. Like, I'm not to the point yet where I can sit and just talk for um, 20 minutes with a camera staring at me. I have a hard enough time making like 3-minute videos. So I'm going to clean out my pajama drawer because it won't shut. So, and my room's a mess. And yeah, but we're trying to get our shit together over here. So here we are. Ugh, I forgot my mic. Okay, we're back. So, in my last video, check it out if you haven't already seen it. I talked about how I began a relationship um, in high school to a boy that admitted to me that he was attracted to men. And we were Mormons and kind of taught that, if you just get married, like everything will be super cool and it'll all be fine. I don't like this. And yeah, so I don't love that either. Yeah, that's where we ended, is when we graduated from high school together. Go back and watch that other video or watch my short form content and you can hear the beginning part of the story. So my mom, after we graduated from high school, we wanted to get married, and but not because of the reason that most Mormon kids do. I don't know why we wanted to get married so bad. I don't know if it was just to like say we got married. um I don't know, because yeah, we were like, we want to get married now, but like most Mormons get married because like you can't do anything physically until you're married, so they're like rushing into it. But we weren't super big into doing anything physically at that point anyway, as you can imagine. So I can't quite remember what our headspace was at that point. Not like that either. So yeah, so I don't like that either. One of my husband's socks is in here. Not this husband. I'm currently not the husband I'm talking about. We go through the whole thing and get divorced, and I don't know if I'm too close to the camera. I hope not. But we get divorced and everything. I have a new husband now. Um, anyways, so but we wanted to get married right away. But my mom was kind of insistent that I go to college, and that's my mom was insistent that I go to college and spend a year like on my own, with like roommates before I got married. And you know, that was fine. I moved into an apartment with 3 other girls. They were all a lot older than me. And not always super nice to me, because in Mormon culture, like, they were all Mormons and they did not, they didn't have husbands or boyfriends. And so I remember one of them that was really tall, telling me that I'm 5'3", and all the short girls take the tall guys. Like, they were just kind of mad at me for um, having a fiance. Well, he wasn't my fiance yet, but having a boyfriend. Um, in Shortly into our freshman year, I was working at Payless at a mall, and so I was always wandering around the mall, and I saw a cheap ring that I liked, and I knew already at this point. Well, we didn't have a lot of money, but also that I knew that he was not going to spend a lot of money on my ring. Like, I just knew it. And I was a bigger girl, at this point, probably like a size 20. Um, and I just wanted to not let this one get away, even though he was gay and I knew he was gay. We didn't talk about it, but I knew it. Um, I didn't want him to get away because I'm like, I'm super fat. No one's going to marry me, and this is my chance to have an eternal family and the whole bit. So, like, I probably pressured it more than anybody, honestly, because I'm like, I gotta lock this shit down because otherwise, like, who, like, I know it's not ideal because he's gay, but um, it's something. As George Costanza says, like, it's something. It's hope. So, um, I pointed out to him the ring that I liked, um, and he ended up buying it for me and then held on to it for months. And, I've seen a million movies at this point waiting for my big, grandiose, like, proposal down on one knee and the whole bit, and on just like a random Tuesday. And it was sweet, but he took me on a picnic at a park, didn't get down on one knee. Um, None of that, and just said, "Will you marry me?" No, no, like, "You're the best thing," like, nothing like that, just like another unmentionable, just like getting it out of the way. So, um, because I was like, I kept asking, like, "When are you gonna do it? Like, when are you gonna do it? You have this ring." Then I remember we immediately went to tell his parents that we were engaged. And one thing I will never forget is the look on his, and I thought his mom liked me at this point. Um, but the look on her face when he showed her my ring was absolutely priceless. She was not happy about it. Oh, I forgot I had this. It's cute. Why is it in my pajama drawer? I could wear this somewhere. Anyways, so she was not thrilled, and it was easy to see. Another one of my husband's socks. My cats get in the drawers. Well, one of my cats get in my drawers, and they go like from behind my dresser and up into the drawers, or she'll like climb up and scoot it out, and like, so stuff gets pushed around. I love my cats though. Um, anyway, so we're engaged, and in Mormon culture, usually it's a super short engagement because you're raring to go. You want to be physical with each other, and you can't. But we had a long engagement, and I remember everybody thinking like we got engaged in October, but didn't set our wedding date until May. And I remember getting so many comments like, "Why are you waiting so long? Like, you're gonna get into trouble." Trouble, that's what they called it. So stupid. You're gonna get into trouble. Like, so stupid. Anyway, meaning like you're gonna do it and get pregnant and die. So, um, but yeah, I remember that. Well, I was super into wedding planning. I love event planning, planning parties, things like that. I had the cutest little notebook. Me and my mom had the best time looking at everything. I had a hard time finding a dress in my size that had sleeves, um, because I had to have sleeves to get married in the temple. Um, but we found a place that I could rent a dress. And so I ended up renting my dress, my wedding dress, and it was the quintessential like 2000 Mormon wedding dress, like poofy. I had a colored sash. Like, if you know, you know. If my room wasn't a mess, I'd go get my bridal picture out of my closet and show you. Maybe I will on the next one. Um, But yeah, so I was planning this wedding, and in Mormon cultures, like the bride's family plans the wedding and pays for it, except the groom's family usually pays for the flowers and the lunch. And so, like, because you get married in the temple, like, you don't have a rehearsal dinner. Like, you don't have a rehearsal dinner. You, like, you get married in the temple usually in the morning, and then you have a lunch right after somewhere nearby, and then you have a reception afterwards. And so the groom's family is responsible for paying for the lunch and the flowers, um, and the tuxedos. And so my mother in law was like, we booked, if you're familiar with Temple Square and everything in Salt Lake, we booked the Joseph Smith Memorial Building for our lunch. We booked it pretty far in advance, and I remember calling them because I was like, because you get married, there's so many outfit changes. Okay, there's so many outfit changes in there. You get married, and you're usually, at least back then, you usually wore your temple clothes that you went through the temple in, which were special clothes for ordinances and everything. Um, and or else you had to put, like, if you were a bride, like I had a short sleeve shirt, I would have had to put inserts in. It came down to like here. I would have had to put an insert in my neck, um, to make me fully covered. So I just got married in my temple dress. Then in the temple, you then change into your wedding dress, even though you didn't get married in the wedding dress, and leave and go to, like, you leave out the doors, everybody's waiting for you, take pictures at the temple in your wedding dress, and your groom puts on his tuxedo or whatever. Um, and then, like, then I'm supposed to go to this lunch right after. So I'm like, then I had another outfit I was supposed to change into for the lunch. And then you change back into your wedding dress and everything for your reception. So, we, anyways, that was a big explanation for what I'm about to say, but they were paying for the lunch, and I called the Joseph Smith building because I'm like, where am I going to change into this other dress for the lunch? I'll be in my wedding dress. There's a place to change in the temple into your wedding dress, but you can't go back into the temple and change into the other dress. So I called the Joseph Smith building and asked, is there a room like I can change in? And they asked, like, what's your date? What's your name of your reservation? And I said my name and the date and everything. And they're like, oh, yeah, we'll reserve a room for you. Like, there's plenty of rooms, and we'll just mark this for your room. But then they said, like, well, also, like, we haven't gotten any details about your wedding. Like, we haven't gotten like a deposit payment or I can't remember. This is broken, sad. Um, I can't remember what all they hadn't gotten, but I keep bumping you every time I put underwear in my drawer. Sorry, but I told my husband to tell my future mother-in-law that they needed her to call and give them this information because they didn't have it. And so he does. Um, and she freaks out. She's like, you're checking up on me. Like, you don't think I can handle this. It's like, no, but obviously you kind of can't because you haven't done any. And we've picked the food we wanted. We picked everything we wanted. And you obviously didn't, like, get it taken care of. But no, I was calling for a different reason. But then she was super mad at me. Then we come down to about 2 months before the wedding, and we hadn't looked at tuxedos. And so me and my mom had gone to a wedding expo and gotten like a deal um, through, I think it was Men's Warehouse, to get tuxedos. And so like I was like, well, maybe she's waiting for me to do it. So I set it up. I'm like, we're gonna go on this day and get fitted, like let everybody know. I was like, tell your mom she can come. She doesn't have to come if she doesn't want to. Like, I know she's busy. Um, and she freaked out about that because she's like, I already had a plan. We were gonna go to Mr. Mac and I have a contact there. It's like, well, bro, we're coming down to crunch time and I'm like a planner. And this family is not a planner. And so I'm like, I'm just making sure like everything gets done. Um, and yeah, she freaked out. Then on the night before our wedding, um, I get, because you have to wear your temple clothes to get married, like everybody else, like viewing you getting married, doesn't have to wear their temple clothes. Like they have to have gone through the temple, going through my gym clothes now, but they don't have to wear their clothes, but we do. And so I was telling him, like, make sure to bring your temple bag, everything like that. The night before, I get a text from him saying, like, these people have been in the church for um 50 years at this point. And I get a text from him saying, my parents say I don't wear my temple clothes to get married. And I'm like, bro, like, bring your temple. I was freaking out. I'm like, you know, you do. And please bring them. And then apparently, from what I heard later, like his mom went on and on about like how I had him wrapped around my finger, all this stuff. And um, I don't know. She didn't like me. That gets worse before it gets better, believe me. But yeah, we got married. We went on our honeymoon. We did not do any of the like Mormons always talk about, like sneaking away between your reception and the lunch or something to like get a quickie in or something. We did not do any of that, as you can imagine. Our first night together was pretty awkward, and so was our honeymoon. And I talked about this on a short, but during our honeymoon, um, I was expecting like a lot more action in that way, and there wasn't. And I had a realization that I've entered, may have just made the biggest mistake of my life. My mom paid all this money for it. She'd taken out a loan and everything because she was a single mom. I've talked about that in the last episode. And, but this may have been a huge mistake. And that he wasn't attracted to me in the slightest. Physically wanted nothing to do with me pretty much. And I'm 18 and realizing I made a huge mistake. Um, like Job in Arrested Development. I have a million movie and TV quotes, FYI. But yeah, that's up until we got married. I'm trying to think if I missed anything. There was another funny story. Like, I lived a few miles away from him. Parking was limited. Just like growing up Mormon. This is a story just about that. Like, parking was limited there. So he said one night I was hanging out over at his place that was his parents' old place that he was renting from them for really cheap. That'll come more in the next episode. But um, he's like, well, why don't you just park here and I'll take you home? And I was like, oh, that works. So I parked there and he took me home. And his dad, who worked close by, I guess was driving past every morning because he freaked out on, like, you're not supposed to be rooming together. And I'm like, are you talking about my car being parked here? Like, yeah, because they're like policing us before we get married, like to make sure we don't get into trouble. But yeah, that was pretty funny. But yeah, that's the first year of college. And the if you want to know more about what the marriage ceremony looks like for a Mormon couple, a I have a TikTok or an Instagram account at Melissa Talking About Stuff where I talk about that in more depth in one of the episodes. And I might do that on here eventually, but I, I'm done sorting my clothes. What time is it? I should probably end this. You've listened to me ramble on and on. I finally have a ring light now and a proper stand. Someday, hopefully, I'll have a good camera and not just my phone. But yeah, I'm anxious to post more. And I know I've posted all of this in shorts. And well, I'm still working on posting it in shorts and YouTube. I haven't been as good at that, but I posted the whole thing on TikTok and Instagram. And but I enjoy long form content, and so I've always wanted to start a long form content account where I just do things around my house and talk and build a community of support and funny stuff. I love to be funny. I'm very serious and that in a lot of my shorts, but I'm a smartass and can make everything into a joke. So, and yeah, but I hope you'll subscribe and come back for the next one. Hopefully, it will be sooner than this one was, but I still have a little bit of nervousness about shooting these things. But yeah, you guys are great. I aspire to be one of my favorite content creators. She doesn't post anymore, but she posted every day. She had a video for people to wake up in the morning and see and feel like that camaraderie while they drink their coffee. And I aspire to do that myself. I don't know if it will be every day, but at least a few times a week. And because I'm here alone pretty much all day while my kids are at school and my husband's at work. I work from home. So um, it's nice to pop on here during my lunch break or early in the morning or um, and uh, talk to you guys for a little bit, for 20 minutes or so. So, yeah, I'm hoping to get ahead too in the post so that I'm making one and that goes up like the next day. I'm going to try and post this one today, but hopefully this is recording. Watch, I'm going to go over to the camera and I didn't record anything. Um, but yeah, thanks for being here with me while I organized my pajama drawer and got rid of a bunch of things that I don't wear. And I went through my gym clothes as well. And now that drawer shuts. And now I think this one will shut as well. You like how I folded them all up and now I'm just like, but I know myself. I'm just going to come in here and rummage around anyway for what I want to wear. So, and there is some in the wash. So hopefully after I wash those, it's still shut up, or I might have to. Well, I've got some more room in this one now if I needed to move anything down. But thanks, and hopefully I'll be back tomorrow, if but by Friday for sure. Thanks, guys.